Hello everyone and welcome to the video. This video I'm going to freestyle my hotkeys. I want to show you guys how I have everything set up, and I want to help you understand the thought process behind why I set up everything the way I do. And also I wanted to explain a little bit my hotkey setup, right? So first thing first, let's go with the mouse. I am using a Razer Naga V2 Hyperspeed. I actually recommend a lot this mouse. I really enjoy it. Razer sometimes does this funny thing where it disconnects and your mouse stop working, but it has only happened once since I got it. I have it for like I think half a year now. It is a really solid mouse. It's kind of expensive to be honest, but personally I really like it. I'm not partner or anything. I just recommend this. If you find a cheaper option that can allow you to rebind the mouse wheel, then go for it 100%. This is the sole reason I am using Razer mouse right now. So I am using a Naga V2 Hyperspeed mouse. Previously I was using a Corsair Scimitar Elite Pro or whatever it's called. Um, and that basically got me banned because I wanted to use a hotkey in a specific way, and I had to use auto hotkey to do so. And by using that, I got banned. So yeah, fuck Crosshair, to be honest. So right now, this is what I use. I use Razer, and I have set up in this way. So I override the scroll up and scroll down functionality with any hotkey you want, right? In my case, it's like random hotkeys. It doesn't really matter. Just set up one for scroll up and one for scroll down. I don't really use scroll right and scroll left, so I don't really use them. And also the click on the wheel, I don't use either. Another important thing I have is this button right here. This button allows me to swap profiles. I can swap to the normal profile and tibia profile. This is important because doing this configuration will make it that if you scroll up, it's not going to scroll. Like your conventional scrolling in a window or something, it's not going to work. So I have this button which allows me to go to the normal mode, where in Spanish here says like scroll up and scroll down. So this is your conventional scroll thingy. I press this button, and I can again be in tibia mode. Okay, so this is basically what I use. And then on the side buttons, it's really standard F1 to F12 standard. I didn't change any of that. Okay, also if you're curious about this, I am using 800 dpis and I have a frequency update, whatever it's called in English, of 1000. Okay, this is pretty much it. There's nothing crazy. I don't use any crazy things that this mouse can do. You can do plenty of macros and shit, but I don't really, I don't plan to get banned again. So yeah, I'm staying full vanilla, as vanilla as possible, right? But again, I would really recommend a mouse. It doesn't have to be a Razer, and you can get a cheap one if you are able to remap these two hotkeys. I think these two hotkeys actually helps you a lot and makes you play way better and way easier. So I would really recommend getting this. I think you can use Xmouse software. As far as I know, nobody using Xmouse got banned, and there's a lot of people that uses Xmouse, so maybe Xmouse is safe. But again, use it at your own discretion. This is, it is a little bit of a gamba, so feel free to use it if you want to. If you don't want to, don't use it. But yeah, I would really recommend something that allows you to remap these two hotkeys. So now we are going to go to the why this is so important. In this piece of art, you have the explanation of, on the left, you can see how I play. So I use my left hand in the keyboard permanently and my right hand in the mouse permanently. This is always 100% of the time I play like this. And these numbers here represent the actions I can press at the same time. So with my thumb of the right hand, I can press the side buttons, right? With my index finger of my right hand, I can scroll. Then on the left hand, I can use my thumb for the spacebar. I can use the other fingers for the WASD and nearby hotkeys. So for example, 1, 2, 3, 4, R, F, G, C, V, all that good stuff. And then the 5, I use the little finger to press X and to press Shift and Control. Okay. So why is this important? You only have two hands, I hope. If you don't, then this video is not for you. I'm sorry. So you have two hands. So you have limited actions you can execute, right? But you have 10 fingers. So you have to get the most use of these 10 fingers. So in this case, let's try and dissect how many actions you are going to use in a singular hunt. So when hunting, you are probably going to heal, right? You need to heal. That's one action. You need to attack, which is two actions. Then you need to use a item. Doesn't need to be a potion. Sometimes actually this attack and this hotkey is the same, right? Because you're using an avalanche, for example, or you might be using a my ring, or you might be using an SSA or a cake. You get what I mean, right? This is an object hotkey, which you are going to most likely use. Then you have the utility hotkey, which you are going to use more or less depending on your vocations. For example, these in mages would be Utamo Vita or Exana Vita or the debuff or maybe Utani Granur, you know? And then you will need to move, of course. This is really important too. So as you can see, in a singular hunt, we might need to press 5 different actions. There are hunts where these actions are way less. So, for example, let's say you are over level from a respawn, you might not use any potions and any utility at all, and you might only need 3 actions. But at most, you should be prepared to use 5 hotkeys, especially if you are team hunting, for example, right, where things get a little bit more hectic and you need to go into a faster pace. So looking at my hand placement here, okay, keeping in mind that I have my left hand on the keyboard and my right hand um, on the mouse at all times, let's figure out how I play. So I have here a blank, like an empty profile, okay, and we are going to start adding spells. So let's start with the Exura Beta hotkey, okay, which is really important, and also we are going to add the Exura Max Beta, okay. Exura Beta, I have it on this space bar. And why is that? Well, again, if you think about the hand placement, my left hand is always in WASD, right? That's my default keys. So my thumb naturally goes to the spacebar. Like I don't have to move my hotkey sorry, I don't have to move my hand to press the spacebar, right? So this way I can move and I can heal. Yes? So this is really good. So we are doing 2 actions simultaneously. Then I have my Max Vita in my right hand thumb. I'm going to explain this a little bit later because right now it's too early to explain, but just the reasoning is I want it in a space where it's separated from beta because I want to. There's times where you want to max beta, and if you don't max beta or Utamo, you're going to die 100%. You're going to get one tap. So you need to max beta. Yes. So I know if I press that button, I'm going to max beta. I don't want to press it by mistake, or I don't want to maybe miss the hotkey, you know, so it's in a really easy accessible hotkey, but it's kind of separated. I'm going to show you why in a second. It will make more sense. So for now, the max beta is in F1. Okay, so now let's go for another action. We need to use a potions, for example, right? That would be another action. So let's set potion use on myself, okay? And this is going in this hotkey right here. This hotkey right here for me is the equivalent to scroll down. So if I scroll down with my mouse, I pot myself, right? So I scroll a little bit, boom, one potty. I scroll again, another. So let's try simultaneous action. So I move, I heal, and I pot myself. Yes? Everything works fine. Yes? Perfect. So we are following the principle that we are separating actions with our fingers. How do I scroll? Personally, I use my index finger to scroll, And the index finger, you don't really use it. You will only use it for, let's say you have an avalanche, you need to press left click. But besides that, maybe a map click, but I don't really map click that much. So basically it's a finger that I don't use, right? The left click, sorry, the index on the right hand. So by doing this, I can do simultaneous action, 3 simultaneous actions right now, and works perfect. So let's go with another action. Let's go with the utility hotkey. In this case, we want Utamo Vita. Utamo Vita. And with Utamo Vita comes also the Exana Vita. Exana Vita, which is also utility, by the way. So for me, it makes sense for me. Again, the hotkeys itself, you have to figure out your way to think about it. But for me, it makes sense to be in the letter R. Okay, so I have it in the R, in the R. Okay, so by setting up in the R, I am able to move. So the reasoning behind being in the R, I need it same as Max Beta. I want it in a hotkey where I'm not going to press it by accident, and I want it to be accessible, but not too accessible either, because I'm not going to perma Utamo. You know, if you Utamo, I think it's like 12-second cooldown, I believe, 14-second cooldown. So you know, like it's a long cooldown. Excuse me. So what we want to do now is try and see if I can move and use all the actions, right? So right now we should be able to perform 4 actions while we play. So it would be move, it would be a potion, it would be a healing spell, and it would be the utility spell. Boom! I can do everything at once, right? Let's say you don't like my hotkey and you say, but you're kind of using your movement hotkey for using Utamo. Yes, I agree, but the hotkey itself is so close to the movement hotkeys that it takes me no time to, like I release the finger 1 second from the movement and boom, like it's so close, it's flawless. So right now we are executing. Of course, I'm going to do it with Exana Vita. Exana Vita for me, okay, is the plus sign, which is scroll up. Okay, it just makes sense for me. So this way, if I scroll up, I will remove Utamo. This way, sorry, if we move, we heal, and we use potions, we can also, boom, remove the Exana Vita. Really easy, really basic, really flawless, as you can see. Again, I am using the same finger for potion and Exana Vita, but it's so close that you are not going to notice the difference, right? It's really, really, really simple, really easy, really clean. Again, let's go now with the last hotkey, which is attack, right? So let's add a wave, flamur, with sanguine tier 3. Okay, very nice. I don't know this guy. I don't know who he is, but okay. And we are going to put this in F8. Okay, so I have my fire wave on F5. Okay, so this is my right thumb, and then I have my hotkey. Sorry, my rune on my right thumb too. I am using the same finger for 2 different actions, but if you think about it, it makes sense, right? Because if I wave, then I cannot use the rune. Why? Because we have the 2-second global cooldown in Tibia, right? So it makes sense to use the same finger for that, right? If I attack, I have to wait for 2 seconds, and then I can press another hotkey with the same finger. So here comes the reasoning why my Max Vita is in my right thumb. If I press any attack, my thumb is useless. My right thumb is useless. I don't use that for 2 seconds, right? Because I have to wait for the GCD to go with for the global cooldown. So I can use the Max Vita no problem. So let's say I wave. I cannot use my thumb, so I can just boop heal myself with Max Vita. Okay. Again, let's try everything at once. So I move, 1 action, I put myself, 2 actions, I heal myself, 3 actions, I Utamo, and I wave, okay? So I'm going to Utamo, and I wave. Everything flawless. I can do it perfectly. I can do it like this. I remove Utamo now, I do this, and I am doing everything at the same time. This is really, really important. You have to find the way you can do this for yourself. It doesn't have to be the same hotkeys, doesn't have to be the same spells, but you have to find a way to do different actions with different fingers. That's pretty much what this is all about. Then, as a little tip, I have a video about this, but I'm going to show you for waves. Let's say you don't have auto aim, which I recommend taking auto aim off. So let's say you are moving and you need to wave, right? So you are going to press Control, move the character, and press F5. If you're slow on releasing the hotkey, you are not going to use F5 because you are pressing Control yet, right? Still. So you're doing Control F5. So you can fix that by assigning Control F5 in this case, right? Because F5 is my wave. So Control F5 is the fire wave. And this way, if I control, change position, and I am slow releasing control, I will still wave because I'm pressing Control F5, which is assigned to the wheel, to the wave still, okay? And of course, if you are, this is really important because it got me killed a couple of times. Times if you are doing this if you're not auto aiming the waves, you should do that on the healing too. Because remember, the control and hotkey is a different action, right? So if I do control flamour and I don't release my control and I try to heal, it doesn't go off. So be careful. Again, control space, boom, and I put beta here. Exura beta. Control, wave. I don't release control and I can still heal. Okay, so be careful with that and make sure to do that. So anyways, that was all for today's video. Basically, I just wanted to show you the reasoning behind my hotkeys and why do I set them up this way. I will leave you probably in the description with the specific hotkeys I use. If you want to see my hotkeys, I will have a link in the description. But this is basically what I wanted to tell you guys. Like, why do I them up this way? So I hope my rambling was to your liking, and if you enjoy this type of content, make sure to follow and all that stuff. I am streaming on Kick. You can watch me on Kick. I have DSMS, I have an Nikkei, and I am playing duo with Kuzner 2 with DSMS. So make sure to join. Um, and yeah, ask whatever question you have. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in the next one.